Well, Bangladesh stands at a crossroads today, a moment that has the potential to change its political landscape forever. Hours before Khalida Zia's son, Tariq Rahman, lands in Dhaka, the country is on an edge, already embroiled in a tug-of-war between four factions. Here's how. Since its inception, Bangladesh has had two major political players, the Awami League, led by Sheikh Mujibur Rahman at one point, and others, and later by his daughter Sheikh Hasina, and the Bangladesh Nationalist Party, or the BNP, led by Ziaur Rahman and later by his wife Khalida Zia. The two matriarchs have fought several battles over legacy, governance and control, making government transitions in Bangladesh chaotic and not so smooth. In fact, their conflict was termed as Battle of Begums in the country. But this changed in 2025. After the July uprising, two other political forces have risen in Bangladesh. The National Citizens Party, or the NCP, formed by the very students who ousted the Sheikh Hasina government. The party espouses eradicating corruption, fostering national unity, and ensuring progress for every citizen. Then there is Jamaat-e-Islami, a religious extremist party which rejects secularism, wants to establish Islam as a code of the life there in the country, and is clearly anti-India. With this, Bangladesh is now staring at an upcoming election which has four major players all trying to control the country. Add to this, Tariq Rahman, the son and heir apparent of the BNP, is all set to return home after 17 years in exile. 60-year-old Rahman, an aspiring prime minister who has lived in London since he fled Bangladesh in 2008 over what he called a politically motivated persecution, is due to arrive in Dhaka on Thursday. As the acting chairman of the Bangladesh Nationalist Party, he is expected to take the reins from his ailing mother, the 80-year-old former Prime Minister Khalida Zia, since Sheikh Hasina's fall from power. Remember, Tariq Rahman has been acquitted of the most serious charge against him, which was a life sentence handed down in absentia for a 2004 grenade attack on a Hasina rally. He has always denied those charges. Let's also tell you who Tariq Anwar is. In fact, Tariq Rahman, beg your pardon. He's known in Bangladesh as Tariq Zia. He carries a political name that has defined his life. Born in 1967, when the country was still East Pakistan, he was briefly detained as a child during the 1971 Independence War. The BNP hails him as one of the youngest prisoners of war. His father, Ziaur Rahman, was an army commander. Ziaur Rahman, remember, was assassinated when his son was just 15. The younger Rahman grew up in his mother's political orbit, as Zia went on to become the country's first female prime minister, alternating her terms in power with Sheikh Hasina. Tariq Rahman was arrested on corruption charges back in 2007 and claimed that he was tortured in custody. Freed later that year, he flew to London in 2008 for medical treatment, but did not return to Bangladesh up until now. On the other hand, the National Citizens Party, or the NCP, remember, has been demanding that the Election Commission not postpone the upcoming elections. So with multiple players vying for Bangladesh's control, the question is who is going to emerge as the winner, and how will the country's changing political landscape impact India and the region? All right, let me go across to senior journalist Shikha Mukherjee. She's joining us from Kolkata to help us understand the situation. Ms. Mukherjee, thank you very much for speaking with us at WION. I'd like to first understand how you see the dynamics that are playing out in Bangladesh currently. There was just an Awami League and a BNP years earlier, and Bangladesh has always seen a tussle of, power tussle between these two major political players in the country. But now you've got the NCP and the Jamaat rising as well.
Well, to begin with, let's put it this way. Bangladesh's politics has always had these two players, the BNP and the Awami League. But that is a part of, there is also another divide within Bangladesh, which is of the more radically Islamic stream of politics versus the liberal secular stream of politics represented by the Awami League. Now, the BNP has had a kind of collaboration, a kind of coordination and cooperation strategy with the Jamaat. So the Jamaat is not a new player in Bangladesh politics. It has not emerged in the most difficult years of the Hasina regime, when she was increasingly becoming more and more authoritarian and less tolerant of any kind of criticism and opposition. So the Jamaat has been a player in Bangladesh's politics. And then you have the Hifazat, for instance, which has also emerged during the later years of Hasina, yes, and was an even more right-wing, extremist, Islamic party. And now you have a third Islamic force coming up, which is the Hizbut Tahrir. And yes, they are aligned with the Al-Qaeda and the ISIS. So basically what we are looking at is as follows. The Awami League, which is banned from the next election due in February, the BNP, which is certainly going to contest, but the BNP has reached out to the Awami League and has said that, they would prefer that the Awami League is a part of the election process.
Yeah.
Now, you have the other side of the story, which is the Jamaat, the Hifazat, the Hizbul, and then there is the emergence of the Inqilab Manch,
yeah, or
the National Citizens Party, which is led by people amongst whom was Umar Sharif Hadi. So you have Umar Sharif Hadi, you have also another second person of the NCP who was shot at, but fortunately did not pass away. So you have an emergence of the split within Bangladesh politics, which is very old, and you have that re-emerging again at this particular point in time,
yeah,
with certain consequences. And then you have the demands that are coming up about how Islamic should Bangladesh be. Should it follow Sharia law? What is it going to do? How is it going to negotiate in the transition? All of these issues are coming up.
So, Ms. Mukherjee, help me understand this then. What are the best options then for citizens of Bangladesh? Awami League's political activities have been banned under the Yunus regime. You've got the BNP, who was in power earlier, but they had accusations of deep corruption and a lot of power struggle that happened. They've also fought elections with Jamaat earlier. Now they're fighting against Jamaat this time around. You've got Jamaat, which is anyway radical extremist group. Inqilab Mancha hasn't been able to find the kind of support that it expected after the July uprising. At least they haven't been able to gather on-ground support as much as they expected. So what do you think are the options then for Bangladeshis? What's the best option?
Well, let's look at what Tariq Rahman said just before he left, some weeks before he left for Dhaka from London. And what he's saying is very clear, that he thinks he has given his wholehearted support to the July uprising movement. He has given his support to the forces that are now shaping Bangladesh's current politics, which is the exclusion of the Awami League, a rightward shift, and a more Islamic shift, the Islamization of Bangladesh. And this is particularly poignant, because if you look at what was attacked on the day that Hadi was killed, was 2 newspapers and the building which was set on fire, and the Sanjita Khatun's portrait was slashed of Chaya Not. Chaya Not is a cultural organization, an organization which is iconic and synonymous with the 1971 or the pre-1971 movement. And these are all issues. These are certainly under the interim regime that is in Bangladesh. What we are seeing is a very, very strong emergence of an Islamic right-wing force of multiple segments within that force, but this is part of a right-wing Islamist political movement, which is emerging as 3 or 4 different parties, which is the Jamaat, the Hizbul, the Hifazat, Inqilab Manch, or even the NCP is not liberal. It is not left. It is certainly right-wing. It is certainly Islamic in its character. So what we are looking at currently, and the crisis that we are looking at in Bangladesh is as follows, that will Bangladesh retain its character? Will Bangladesh be able to, if you remember the origins of Bangladesh, it is all about language and identity.
Yeah.
It was never about religion, because Pakistan and East Pakistan shared the same religion. It was never about that. It was all about the language and the identity, and how the language and identity impacted the way in which Islam was practiced in Bangladesh.
Okay,
so if you're looking at,
in the same breath, let me quickly then ask you, and I want you to briefly explain to us which one of these would then be good for Bangladesh to have a good relationship with India. Clearly, India-Bangladesh ties are strained at the moment. Awami League was friendly to India. With that party gone, which do you think is the best option then to maintain friendly, cordial relationship with India?
Let's look at it this way. Yesterday, there were strong public protests outside the High Commissioner's office in Delhi and in Kolkata and in Siliguri. And this was conducted by the Hindu Jagran Manch. Obviously, we are looking at a polarization from within the public space in India. The government of India has made it very clear that though they would like an inclusive election, meaning that Hasina should be a part of, or the Awami League should be a part of the election, they have also said that we will maintain our relationship, and we will continue with our relationship with Bangladesh, regardless of whoever is coming into power. But what is of concern, and that is serious concern, is that India has always been a part of Bangladesh's domestic politics. Therefore, when you have slogans on the streets of slavery versus freedom, freedom versus democracy, freedom and democracy, you also have questions being asked about how will the government be run, from Delhi or in Dhaka. And that is exactly the space that India has to negotiate. How does it work with a country where if an elected government of that sort comes in, they will say that no, we will have to have a kind of relationship with India in the neighborhood where the evil or the demon is on the other side of the border, which is trying to interfere in things which are happening in Bangladesh.
Yeah.
And this was the accusation against the Awami League. This is the reaction that was part of Jamaat's politics. This is a reaction which is part of. If
we'll have
Hifazat.
to wait and watch how this moves forward. And it's
Yeah.
interesting because in the current regimes of Maldives and Sri Lanka also won their elections on an anti-India plank, but they turned around and came for financial aid, and there were deals that were made with India, and now it's all over. The difference, of course, being that Bangladesh is also seeing a very violent situation and an attack on minorities. But we'll leave it there. Ms. Shikha Mukherjee, thank you for your perspective on
Thank
WION.
you.
We'll, of course, wait and watch how this crisis unfolds in Bangladesh.